Okay, today's project is to replace the motor capacitor. This is on a 1950s Seeburg Jukebox. This is a Model R, an HF100R. This in my hand is the original motor capacitor. This unit is actually good, but it's approximately 70 years old, so it is tired and it's time to replace it. On my high voltage capacitor checker, it's testing good on leakage, but not quite as good as brand new motor capacitors are. So I'm going to show you an affordable way to replace this. You can buy a more expensive motor capacitor that is shaped like this, like one of these original ones, one of these can styles. They usually cost around $50 plus the shipping, but I'm going to show you how you can get it done for around $10 or so, even less if you buy them in bulk and you have multiple machines you're going to be reusing them on. So I'm going to set this down. When you do these, make sure the machine's off, and you want to short between all of these terminals with, like a heavy grade screwdriver. That way you discharge the capacitor to make sure there's no voltage, because, this could definitely cause you a problem. And if you don't understand that, you should not service something like this, because there are high voltages involved that could harm you or kill you. So, I would recommend use caution and do not undertake any task that you do not understand. So we're going to set that aside. That is just mounted right in this area right here, and there are two screws that loosen up that. This is a clamp right here. You just need to loosen that clamp with this screw right underneath there. You can loosen that. You don't have to take it out, just loosen it. And then this screw right here, right underneath that wire right there, you loosen that up a little bit, and that will allow you to wiggle the old can upwards and out, and you can snip it off where you need. Keep the wires as long as possible right here, and there's 3 wires that go to it: a gray, a green, and a white. The white is your common. And what I did now is I moved over to the schematic in the service manual, and I marked this down. This will show you exactly how this is all wired, but what you need to know is the white is the common, the green is the 1.0 microfarad capacitor, and the gray goes to the 1.4 microfarad capacitor. And using the system that I'm going to show you, you would be using a 1.5 in this position, which is perfectly fine. And like I say, if you want something that looks original, you can pay a lot more and do that, or you can get a very high quality product that'll do this for a lot cheaper. So now that you see which is which, I'll show you back what we're going to use. Okay, so what we're going to use is a pair of motor capacitors. These are commonly used for things like ceiling fans and things like that. They're small. They're actually very high quality. The electrolyte that they use, or the internals of these, I believe, are either mylar or polypropylene, but these will last a very long time, and they actually have a very high voltage rating. These ones here that I buy are rated 450 volts AC, so they're overkill for what we need, but that's what you want. You want to buy the best you can on that. So what I do is simply stack them vertically, put a quick zip tie around them. That'll keep them together and make them easier to use for you. It doesn't matter which way you put this one on top or the other. You're just physically keeping them together, and these are very light. They have screw mounts on them, but that's not really going to help us for this project. And all you're going to do is you'll connect one side of each capacitor together. So like, for example, to connect these two together, and then you're going to connect this to the white lead that you had coming out from the original capacitor. So that's going to be your common right there. And then obviously you'll connect the 1 microfarad to the correct wire, and on the other capacitor, which will be the 1.5, you'll connect that to the remaining lead. And so these ones here that I get are a nice size. They will fit very nicely down in this spot right here, right like that. And you can then zip tie them if you want to something in this area, even to this stack of wires here. It's very light. It won't take hardly anything to keep this from shifting around. And obviously you trim off, the excess here. I just haven't done that yet. So what I'll do now is go ahead and connect it up, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, and actually I was looking here. If you put the smaller 1.0 capacitor on the bottom, it actually fits perfectly within this little notch in this bracket right here. So that is actually ideal. Couldn't beat that at all. So if you stack the smaller one at the bottom, the 1.0 at the bottom, it actually just fits perfect right in there, right in that bracket. Okay, so here it is installed. It looks nice and neat, and it's in here very secure. And like I say, you can get this job done excellent for around 10 bucks instead of paying 50 or more. It maybe takes a couple extra minutes, but not that much. So in my opinion, that's the way to go, because honestly, it's a super high quality capacitor, well, two capacitors, and I think this would probably last a lifetime. Okay, I put the machine back together just enough to demonstrate the motor working with the new capacitors. So we'll just go ahead and scan it by hand here. And if I go ahead and pull the trip, so there you go. It's a cheap, affordable way to get the job done nice.